My new helicopter.
Hey? What?
That's my new helicopter.
Ah, don't worry about it. I'll get you a Goblin 500.
Brazil.
Hello, guys. Welcome to show 4. This is Rotors, the RC helicopter show. Hey, guys. Last time, and it didn't seem too long ago we were here, but we are here. It is what it is. Last show was absolutely awesome. If you watched and caught up with our show, we discussed the fabulous range of helicopters from KDS, like the 7.2, 5.5, and the all-new really sexy 3.6. We had Alan Bryan, who joined us all the way from Texas, and he gave us a great insight to these really awesome machines. KDS, by the way, guys, will be at Weston Park Helifest at the 15th of June in the UK, if you want to come and check them out and find out more. Plus, we had the main players behind AccuRC, the all-new, oh, bless you, the all-new, this is Maxwell, my son, by the way. He wants to be on the show. Yeah, so we had AccuRC, the guys from AccuRC, all-new flight simulators, really going to take the RC market by storm. We discussed the nitty-gritty with Ash Davis and Nigel Fraser-Kerr. We also got to show an exclusive look behind the scenes of how to customize your own helicopter in AccuRC in the workshop feature of the sim. All in all, this will be, guys, a revolution. And tell you, when it hits the shops at just £89, it will be a hit. And that includes the dongle as well that's matched to your transmitter, plus a lifetime's free updates as well. I can tell you guys, there's going to be lots of models and location updates as the months pass. We're also going to have, and we're really pleased that KDS has been chosen to be the first model in the updates for AccuRC. So that's a real good scoop. So all in all, it was the most watched show ever. Well, ever. We've only done 4 for the Rotors, the RC helicopter show. A few thousand people are tuning in, so thanks very much indeed for all your continued support. Now, this show, we've got a lineup of really, really great guests. Plus, we have the first ever giveaway, all right? Big thank you to our good friends at Spartan RC. They've donated for the competition, well, the giveaway this evening, a brand spanking new Spartan Vortex with the data pod as well. So we'll tell you how to do that in a moment. Later in the show, we'll announce the winner. Basically, what you've got to do is you've got to go. Now, listen, if you're watching this now, we're going to talk about it throughout the show. But you need to now, if you want to get hold of this Spartan, get yourself to the website, and it's this, www.spartan-rc.com. Okay? www.spartan. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Spartan-rc.com. When you get onto the website, if you look in the top left-hand side, you will see the Rotors logo. It will have a unique identification number that is unique to you. Well, unique to your IP address. Make a note of that number, and then we read out the when we read out the winner later on sometime in the show, if that's your number, and guess what? Cha-ching, you're a winner. Okay, Rotors will also be coming from zone format. We're going to take the microphone and the camera and all that sort of stuff. We're going to be talking to a number of the pilots. We're going to talk to some of the guests and the fans, and also the key players in the industry as well. So we're going to be hopefully doing that, and that, of course, is next weekend here in the UK. Well, we've also got another announcement to make as well, guys. We are going to be introducing a thing called Bite Size, Rotors Bite Size. That will be in addition to our main show, and we'll feature each of the presenters, me first, and then we're going to have the other guests, the other presenters on as well. The show will last around 10 to 15 minutes, so we'll tell you more about that. So up in the show this night, we are show 4. So on with the show, guys. Tonight, we're really pleased to have with us the legend that is Bert Kammerer. We've got Angelos Gonias from Spartan, and we've got Dave Fisher from Flying Fish. However, unfortunately, Dunkan Bossion can't be with us on the show. Sadly, he's chosen to have a holiday away last minute. So, listen, in no way an understudy, but to take his place, we're really pleased to welcome the man behind Zone, the man himself, Stu Smith, who'll be talking to us about Zone and his own flying career. So there you go. That's kind of a bit of a rundown on what's ahead on show 4 of Rotors, the RC helicopter show. But first of all, let's go and have a chat with all our other commentators and announcers here on the show. So first of all, let's have a quick chat with Kev. Kev Davis, are you there?
I'm here, Nick. How are you?
Hello, mate. You know what? We've got such an exciting show. We've got loads and loads of hits on the website, loads of hits on YouTube and our Facebook channel. Kev, I know it's been a really, really busy week for you. You've had loads going on. Tell us a bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah. No, I'm busy at work. Just absolutely snowed under. However, there's light at the end of that tunnel.
Go on.
Goblin 570 in the silver and white scheme is being built as we speak.
Okay, where is it? Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
No. You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait. I'm doing a build thread for the Rotors page. I'm taking thousands of pictures, pretty much, and then we'll do a nice detailed review on it, and then get some pictures up. And I'm gonna send it once it's built. I'm gonna send it down to Aid for like a flying review as well. Get Aid to give his thoughts with it because he's a much better pilot than myself. So get his thoughts on it and everything. So.
And obviously he told you that, yeah.
No, I've just sprung that on him. He didn't even know that.
No, he's told you he's a better pilot than you. I wouldn't believe him. Send it up to me. Anyway, let's nice one, mate. We'll come back and talk about your new baby. Let's have a quick chat with Aid Law. Let's have a word with you. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Firstly, Kev, thanks. However, can we change the canopy first? Because that'll be a ground magnet.
I've thought that myself, but hey ho, it looks sexy as hell.
Well, it could be your own sort of shelf queen. What have you been up to the last few days, in Aid?
Getting ready for the next show. Obviously, it's only been 2 weeks since the last one, so it's been a bit mental. And doing lots of work. And actually, I haven't actually flown.
You haven't what?
I haven't flown at all.
You're joking.
No.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
It's bad.
The only thing I've flown is that. Oh no, tell a lie. We did have a fly at the Eagle RC Fun Fly. Yeah, we did it. We did go there, have a little fly. So any sort of more interesting stuff you've been up to, or should we move on?
I think we're a bit short on time tonight, so let's move on.
Let's move on. Fair enough. Okay. This, as I say, is show 4. This is Rotors, the RC helicopter show. We've got some really, really special guests, and we're really delighted to introduce our guests onto the show. All the way from Popco in Florida, USA. Bert Kammerer, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am here.
Hello, buddy. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Hey, mate, it's good to see you too. Listen, thank you again. I say this to all of my guests, and we really do mean it here at the show. Thanks so much indeed for taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule to join us on the show, mate. Thank you from all of us.
Absolutely. This is fun. Definitely. Couldn't miss it.
So where are you sat right now?
I'm sitting in my home office. So this is where my wife does most of her work. This is like our administrative side of the house office. This is not my shop. My shop is too nasty. It wouldn't look good on camera, trust me. So I have to sit here where everything's nice. We have some products behind me, some nice helicopters. It's just a nice part of the house.
Fantastic. And the artificial horizon that comes out of your aeroplane that sat on the shelf behind you.
That's an old one I had to replace. Not long ago. So yeah, it's just sitting there as decoration. Actually, my wife says I'm a hoarder. I don't like to throw stuff away. So it's just sitting there as paperweight. Yeah.
I'm like that myself, mate. Everything's got a value.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what have you been up to the last few days then, Bert? Have you got things building up for the next shows?
Yeah, a lot going on. I mean, I'm always doing something, always working on a new project of some kind. I took a little 2-day vacation last week, and I seem to have to take these little 2-day vacations at least once a month. Because what happens is when you work out of home, you end up working every day, all day long, all day and night, and you just don't have any time to get away from work. So in order to kind of force ourselves to get away from work, we take these 24, 48-hour little trips once a month. But no, I've been busy. I've been working on a few projects. Some things I really can't talk about, and other things we'll talk about, I'm sure, during the show.
I'm sure we'll get to talk about a lot. Some of the some of the interesting stuff that I know Bert's potentially going to talk to us about, which will certainly for you guys at home will be really interesting to find out. Bert, thanks very much indeed, mate. We'll come back to you very, very shortly. Right, as I say, we've got very special guests, Bert Kammerer, and our next guest. Now, what are we doing now? Let's go over to Angelos Gonias from Spartan RC. Can you hear us?
Hello, yes, I can.
That's it, yeah, no worries. Okay, just unmute the microphone and then we're good to go. Fantastic. Angelos, it's a privilege and a pleasure to have you on the show. Are you okay?
Yes, I am. Thank you for inviting me. It's very exciting to be here.
Oh, it's even more exciting to have you on the show, Angelos. I know, again, with yourself, like Bert, very busy, lots of R&D stuff going on, and lots of people to speak to, and emails and messages to answer. And thank you for taking the time to come and join us, Angelos. It's also a real pleasure to have the brand Spartan on the show, obviously because of your collaboration with Bert and Spartan USA, and also we must, from a team point of view and from the people listening and watching, a big thank you for putting up the prize today for the competition. Oh, sorry, the prize draw. It is a free to enter, by the way, guys. Let me just remind you, if you have just joined us on the show, you've got to go to the Spartan website, which is www.spartan-rc.com. Make a note when you're on the homepage of that logo. The logo will have your IP number, your IP reference. Make a note of that. Thank you very much.
Nick, should I just say that there seems to be some problem with the website, and it hasn't come up automatically as it's meant to. So I'm going to have a look at it in a minute and try to rectify it.
Right. Okay. Well, these things happen. Okay. But Bert's on standby. Angelos, we're going to leave you there because obviously.
All right. I'm going to take a 5-10 minute break.
Yeah, no problem. Angelos is going to go ahead and sort the website out so you guys can register for this competition, for this giveaway. We're going to then move on to let's have a quick word with our next guest. All the way from London, Dave Fisher. How are you, Dave?
I'm very well, Nick. It's great to be on the show.
Hey, it's great to have you as well, mate. A great ambassador for the RC helicopter industry. Dave, you've been in the business a long, long time, have you not?
I have, yes. I've seen a lot of changes in the business as well. And one of the great things about flying model helicopters is because it moves so fast, it just keeps you excited all the time.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, mate. We all love it to pieces. Dave, just for the benefit of the viewers and the listeners and stuff, if you just give us a sort of a couple of minutes for those, there's probably not many people out there who have not heard your name, Dave, because you have been on the circuit for quite a long time, and tell us a little bit about what you do and your kind of background, please.
Okay, Nick. I've always been interested in flying. It's been a passion ever since I can remember. I actually teach people to fly model helicopters. I used to teach aircraft as well, but my passion is the helis, and we take people right from the start, from basic hopping on the ground, and then right the way through, and had people go into competition and help coach for competition as well. I've been involved in F3C flying for about 10 years and flown in the British team for about 10 years, and my passion really has been 3D, and I decided to just concentrate on one discipline and crack on with the 3D since 2011, which I'm enjoying immensely.
Yeah, because you've recently sort of joined the 3D circuit, and I was really pleased when I first saw you sort of compete 3D. I was thinking it was was it Western Park, or was it the first time actually at Zone?
Yeah, Western Park, yeah, I flew in the first Zone as well, yes.
That's right, yeah. And Dave's a really accomplished pilot. Well, Dave, we'll come back to you. I want to talk about flying fish. I want to talk about your F3N stuff, because I know you've had a bit of disappointment, obviously, with the F3N competition the weekend. The weather, unfortunately, as it does in the UK, kind of put the spoiler on things. But for anybody who's interested in F3N, Dave and his wife Julie are the ones kind of behind it. Is that correct in the UK?
Well, F3N is an international competition, but
no, I mean the UK side of it, the UK event. Yeah,
absolutely.
So we'll talk a little bit about that very, very shortly, Dave. We're just going to go over now and speak to Stu Smith. How you doing, Stu?
Good evening.
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm cool in the gang. Yeah, I've got my son Max here. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
This is Max. He was dying to come on the show. He wanted to meet Stu Smith. He wanted to meet Bert Kammerer, but he really wanted to meet. He really wanted to meet Dunkan Bossion. But we'll have Duncan on a little Rotors bite size, won't we? But Stu's a ledge. Stu's a ledge. He's one of the other demo gods. That's the original demo god in the blue there. That's Bert. But this one here, this is Stu. Stu, you're the man behind Zone. So for those of you who don't, sort of listening and watching, they need a little bit more information about Stu Smith. So kind of just give us the rundown, mate, of your background, how long you've been flying, what you fly for, and stuff like that, if you can.
I've been flying since 2006, doing competitions, really. I started doing kind of clubman level competitions in the UK. That kind of progressed on to about 2009 when me and my brother started flying, synchronized flying together. So
if I may just butt in there, I think if you ever look on YouTube and search for Stu and AD Smith, you'll find, I don't think there is anybody out there who would argue with the fact that you two were the best at doing that. I think that's fair to say. In the UK for sure.
Yeah, I think UK-wise we're the only ones who have really done it.
I've seen other people try it, but you did pretty well.
Well,
You flew for LEQ as well for a while. What happened with LEQ?
Yeah, we did LEQ stuff for a couple of years. That's kind of died off now. I'm not sure what's happening there at the moment. There was talks of like a relaunch, but I haven't seen anything since Nuremberg pictures a couple of years ago. So
that's a shame. They were the kind of a promising brand, but hey ho, if you don't innovate, you evaporate, I guess. It's one of them, isn't it?
yeah,
so there we go. Okay, Stu, listen, we want to talk in depth about Zone, and it's obviously coming up next weekend. Crikey, that's come around quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And it's all sold out. You can't. I suppose there's no pilot places left anymore, is there?
No, all pilot places are filled up. I think we've got a list to show a little bit later.
Yeah,
we'll go through some of those pilots.
Definitely, we'll go through all of that. Aid, are you there? No.
Thank you.
Don't worry, mate. I just wanted to throw you just to see if you're paying attention. Yes. Aid, I want you to sort of chip in a little bit here because I want you to speak to people about the competition or about the free prize draw, please, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Angelos has fixed the problem with the website now. It's all up and running. So if you go to Spartan-RC.com, you will see the Rotors logo there, the little circular one. You click on that, and it will give you a code. Keep that code to yourself. It is your code. It is unique to you. And then later on in the show, we shall pick and announce automatically through a random number generator a winning code. And if we will announce that code without the last 4 digits, and we will then give you instructions on how to get in touch. So keep listening. It won't be the end of the show. It will be partway through the show, but we'll give you plenty of time to go and visit that site. So get on in there and go and get your code now. Absolutely.
We're Spartan RC are very kind to give us the data pod and the Vortex as well. So you don't have to do anything, guys. All you got to do is register. It's as simple as that. Can we just get to Angelos back online, please? Angelos, are you there?
Maybe not. Yes, I am here. Sorry, the microphone button didn't come up.
Not a problem, mate. That's the beauty of being live. Mm-hmm. Angelos, there is a massive buzz at the moment, isn't there, about Spartan RC? And what if you just tell us, why do you think it's such a popular unit at the moment? Why is that?
I think we've done very good work on the unit, and especially with the version 3, it's performing exceptionally well. Bert helped us a lot as well with getting some tuning parameters for the helicopters, and it seems that everybody's enjoying it at the moment.
Now, there was a big buzz about this V3. What's the difference?
We have improved a few things with the cyclic. Primarily, most of the work was there, and it seems that it's what people feel comfortable with at the moment. You know, they like it very much.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, I mean, there's lots of videos, and of course, there are lots of videos and posts on Facebook and social media and stuff like that about people, shouting from the rooftops about how good the V3 update is. I mean, does that mean that V2 wasn't that good for V3 to be such an improvement?
Well, it's difficult to say. I think every version was good for what it was. Obviously, as you move along, you get feedback from the customers and from your pilots. You know, the pilots list, it keeps growing. So we have taken everything into consideration, and of course some things that came from Bert, and tweak the firmware and make the V3.
Wow, because there seems to be a lot of sort of evangelical, sort of comments about Spartan Vortex. Just jump into Bert, if you don't mind. Bert, just to sort of get your feelings and feedback on Spartan and how you kind of got involved with it.
Well, as you guys know, I decided to. I was flying Mikado for quite a while, and I just decided to start exploring other alternatives. And so I tried a few systems, and Angelos had reached out to me. Oh God, actually, quite a long time ago. I think it would have probably been a year ago. I'm not sure, but he reached out
about Helifest possibly.
Yeah, correct. And then you send me some sample units and stuff, and I was always reluctant, to be honest with you, to try anything else because, why reinvent the wheel? That's kind of my philosophy. Why if everything works fine, there's really no need to change. But I decided to move away from the V-bar, and I tried other things. I had already tried several different units, so it was logical to try the Spartan. And as soon as I started flying it, I really liked it right away. There were a couple of things that I was not 100% convinced about at the time, but having worked with Angelos before, back in the day of the tail gyros, and knowing that there was a new version coming and that I would be able to have some sort of feedback over the development of the new version, I got really enthusiastic about it. I thought it was a really good opportunity. And to be honest with you, I don't regret it because, like Angelo said before, you asked what was wrong with version 2. Well, there was really nothing wrong with it, but I would say version 3 is at a different level. I think version 3 puts the Spartan at the level of the best Flybarless systems in the world. Whereas version 2 worked well, but I don't think it was quite at that level. V3 is what Spartan needed. V3 puts Spartan on the map. It makes the Vortex a unit that can be compared with the best of the best.
So it's a very tight market of the higher sort of end, the higher echelons of Flybarless systems across the globe. So you obviously fly in Mikado. Many pilots, top pilots, are flying Mikado. What went wrong with the V-bar then for you to choose Spartan?
Nothing went wrong. I can't say anything negative about Mikado. They're a great company. They have a great team of people and everything. But Mikado went through some changes in the United States early this year. And there was a lot of uncertainty about what was going to happen in the U.S. market. And I've really never had much of a say when it comes to the development of the V-bar. And I'm the type of person that wants to be involved. I want to play a significant role in the development of a product because, and this is a true fact, the older I get, the more I want to be working on the technical side and the business side of things. And even though, of course, I enjoy the flying and I still have a really good time when I do demos and I fly for fun, I'm trying to focus myself more around the business side of things. So, again, I never had really any input or anything to say about V-bar. The Mikado people are really, really close with their own team and their own company. So when all this happened in the U.S. with the new distribution and Ready Heli going out of business and all the uncertainty, it was kind of logical to just move in a different direction. And Spartan was, of course, the most suitable alternative at the time for so many different reasons. So, and again, I'm really happy where I'm at right now. Angelos and I have a great working relationship, and it's a great unit, so it's a good fit.
And it's such a good unit. Like the Remington guys said, so I like the company that much, I bought it. You guys started up Spartan USA, haven't you? How's that going?
Yeah. I was so happy with this unit, especially when I started testing the V3 and knowing where this is headed and talking to Angelos. We haven't really talked a whole lot in the last 2-3 weeks, but while the V3 was under development, we were talking on a daily basis, literally. Maybe not on the phone or Skype, but we were emailing and exchanging ideas. And he had something tested by Neil, his local pilot technician originally, and once that test kind of went okay, he would send it to me and I'd test. And I was going to the flying field literally every day, 4 or 5 hours every day, putting 20, 30 flights a day, testing and testing. So we worked together very well, and I had a really good positive vibe about the whole project. So I suggested that we become the U.S. distributors. And with my wife's previous experience distributing products and stuff like that, and it was kind of a good idea, and it's been working well. we're new at it. I mean, we just started distributing Spartan in the U.S. for a little bit less, probably somewhere around 2 months, but it's working really well so far.
Well, the old saying, behind every successful man there's a successful woman, hey mate? You got to have a good woman behind you. It's a good team. It's a good team. So, fantastic. But I want to talk to you more about, we all want to talk to you more about Spartan and your history and what you've been up to and the kind of machines you fly. We want to talk to you about Smacktor. We want to talk to you about BK servos. Let me just drop back to Angelos, if you don't mind. Angelos, are you there?
Yes,
So, as I say, for some people who perhaps not, they're obviously familiar with the brand, but not perhaps familiar with yourself as an individual. I know you've got such a tremendous background in particle accelerators and physics and stuff. Could you just kind of let people know the kind of experience and the kind of, the background that you bring to the table for Spartan?
After I finished the university, I started working for Diamond Light Source, which is a particle accelerator in Oxfordshire, near to where Spartan is. And I was control systems engineer there for a few systems of the accelerator. One of the systems I was working on had 360 servos. So
I'm ever so sorry, I missed that. Sorry, Angelos.
One of the systems I was working on that project had 360 servos.
360 servos?
Yes.
Oh my goodness me! That's
industrial servos, of course, not the kind of servos we use for our models.
That's more servos than an Avro Blitz.
Yep.
Wow. What was that project? Can you share with us?
That one was it was a system that was positioning the girders where all the equipment was sitting on, and you only move the girders up and down about 5 millimeters, but it was a very, very high accuracy. So,
wow. I mean, obviously, with the collaboration now between Bert, obviously you're going to go back to that company and recommend they replace all of them with BK servos, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. Cool. So what was your inspiration then, Angelos? What was your inspiration behind Spartan? How did it all kind of come about?
I think, after I started flying helicopters, I could see that I can make some things myself. Obviously, some things are more complicated than others, but I started tweaking, and quite a few people that used to fly with me, wanted to possibly have one of the things that I made. So it started from there a little bit, not too serious. Then later on, I just happened to be involved a bit with aerial photography, hobby level, and I started making my own cat gyros for camera gimbals.
Okay.
So that's when we started selling a few things at volume because there was a lot of interest, and from there eventually became tail gyros.
Okay, I think everybody, the tail gyros were a great budget range of tail gyros. If you forgive me the name of the tail gyro, the little square one, what was it called?
The first one was the DS760.
Yeah.
And then there was a second one which was slightly smaller. It was sort of the next, the evolution of the 760, which was called the Quark.
Quark, that's the one. Yes, Quark. I had one. I had a Quark on my Raptor 50, and swore by it. It was great. It was really good. Now, what's the future then for Spartan RC? We've got some feedback from Bert. The reason why Bert kind of got involved with Spartan as a company. We've heard a little bit about your background. A lot of the competition pilots, a lot of the fun fly pilots and the park flyers and the club flyers, they love the Spartan. So where does it kind of go from there? I mean, we want to learn about where the technology is going. So let's jump in and have I think we've got a question from Aid, please, about a question for Angelos. Aid should be unmute his microphone. We want to talk to Angelos about the future projects. What have you got to say on that, Aid?
Well, the question from Emil Verwood, that's the best I can pronounce it, I'm sorry. When will we see the electric governor on the Vortex?
Well, obviously we have to do some work on the Vortex with the V3. That's out of the way now, and I'm very happy with where we are. I don't think it needs anything else immediately, work on the cyclic. So the governor is the next item on my list. I have something quick to clear this month with the PC software and some other little projects that I'm working on. But the electric governor will happen this summer. That's at least the plan. Okay.
Is this Flybarless unit, is it designed with electric in mind, or is it would the transition between electric and nitro be just as smooth?
The Flybarless doesn't care what model you have it on, nitro or electric. Of course, the governor does. You can optimize the governor to work better on electric models. You cannot use the nitro governor and expect to have the same performance.
Right.
So the Vortex already has a nitro governor. It has a very, very good nitro governor. So we need to make available an equally good governor for electrics.
And what was your inspiration, or who was your inspiration? Because obviously you're a heli pilot yourself, aren't you?
Yes, I fly helicopters. I used to fly aeroplanes. I got a little bored with that. Got back to helicopters, then done some FPV, back to helicopters. So I think helicopters are staying together with lots of other disciplines.
Fair enough. Listen, guys, I'm just going to have to say goodnight to my son because it is bedtime, and I'm going to say goodnight to him. Can you say goodnight to everybody?
Goodbye.
Max has got to say goodbye.
Bye.
Good night, son. Take care.
Night.
He's gone.
Bye.
He so wanted to be on this show, guys. I had to get him in. Okay, so we talk a little bit about the background and what drives you as a business and where the technology is going. So let's just jump over again, if you don't mind, to Dave Fisher, if you don't mind, Dave. Really keen to have a quick chat with you about your background and flying fish here in the UK. All right, we obviously got a small problem.
Okay, now I'm fine now. I couldn't unmute my microphone. I'm fine now. Sorry, can you just repeat that? I was having trouble there.
Yeah, no, well, we're just going to say I just want to find out a little bit about sort of flying fish and your background and where people can see you, sort of flying.
Okay, I'm involved in most of the competitions throughout the year. I work from Northolt, which is where the flying field is, which is West London. And we have a website, Flying Fish, so if people need to get in contact with us, they can there. We're also busy organising competitions, myself and Julie, my wife, the F3N competitions, and they're spaced out around the country, varying different flying sites. So really, look at the website and you'll find out where I'm flying. I should be seeing you as well shortly, Nick, at Zone.
Absolutely. Of course, it's not this weekend, it's the following weekend. The 24th and 25th of May down at the Fleet Air Arm Museum in Yeovilton. Fantastic. Who are your sponsors, Dave?
I have a few sponsors. I got involved with Andy Hinton at OptiFuel in 2007. He said that he wanted to develop a fuel. Came to the flying field, and because we put so many hours in, he asked me if I would feed back, and we got some equipment for logging on the helicopters. So we did an awful lot of testing, many gallons, different oils, viscosities, and so on. Developed the fuel, so it's OptiFuel. Line T-Rex, Raj at linetrx.co.uk sponsors the Line helicopters that we use. Horizon sponsors me on the radio gear, and of course Angelos, last but not least, with Spartan Vortex, which I have to agree with Bert, is excellent. The first time I flew it, I found it suited my style of flying. I loved it. It was easy to set up. Enjoyed it. It was great. And
what were what Flybarless units were you using previously?
Because I deal with many customers, many machines, I've flown most of them. So the Gyrobot 900, the V-Bar. Going way back, CSM with multi gyros, the GT5, which is from Thunder Tiger. So I've flown many gyros, and very often find that they are tricky to set up. You can chase, and if you are a little bit inexperienced in flying, let alone setting up modern gyros, it's very difficult to get a good setup. The Spartan instantly worked out of the box for me.
Well, it's all about personal preference. We've all got our personal favourites, haven't we? And I guess with a Flybarless unit, for somebody who's not a competition pilot, who doesn't have the experience of setting up these things on a semi-regular basis like yourself, perhaps, and Bert, once you make a decision, it's like almost, you know, it's not an impulsive purchase. You've got to look at it and detail and study all the pros and cons, because once you tear the heart out of your helicopter and with a view to replace the Flybarless unit, the machine then is inept. It's inert. Sorry, you've got to put this thing back in and get it set up right. So it's a big decision, isn't it, a Flybarless unit?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yes, it is a big decision. And it can make a massive difference to the way the machine flies. And providing you've got a machine now which is mechanically sound, most of the machines are pretty good now. The heart of it is the electronics. So it can tailor the machine to how you want it to fly totally, as you say. One of the things that's an advantage for me is, although I am flying Spartan, you've got to be very careful when you're flying different units. To be seen to be flying other units is not good if you're sponsored by a certain company. It's only fair. But the thing that's good for me is that I have customers come along and I have no control of what units they're using. So I still get to test against other Flybarless units, which means that I have a good grounding to my preference.
And just to give people a perspective, obviously you're the longest established flight school in the UK. You've pretty much, I would imagine, used a lot of Flybarless units. Can you give me an example of the ones that you've previously used in the last 2 years?
Last 2 years, probably most common would be V-Bar and Beast X. They're the two which are very much plug and play. The GT5 gyro, when I was sponsored with Thunder Tiger, I was using using those gyros. Other gyros, the not so common, but the actual GyroBot 900, that has a very similar sort of setup to the GT5 gyro, where you have to start from scratch. With V-Bar and with Spartan, you can put in a complete set of parameters and the machine pretty much works straight off. With the other types of gyros, you have to put in individual adjustments right the way through, which is highly complex, and it means that you can get it massively wrong if you're not careful. I
guess so. If your students
I was going to say, I know you fly the Bavarian Devil, and I've recently had a fly on a couple of those. Two people in the last few weeks, actually.
Okay.
I was quite impressed with the Bailout.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. If a customer was to say to you, what Flybarless unit should I buy, what would you recommend?
3 for me. Obviously Spartan, because I like it and I use it and it works well. I'm familiar with it. Beast X, which is one of the easiest to set up and works on any machine that I've tried it on. I've never had it have funny tendencies. And of course the V-Bar, because it is very much a plug and play unit.
Okay, good answers, mate. Good answers. Right, we're gonna go ahead and talk to Kev. Kev's got loads of news, but first of all, we're gonna have a quick word with Abe, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify a few bits with that Dave was saying, really, about with the Vortex setup. When you run through the setup, you do the normal pitch limits and cyclic limits and all that sort of stuff. And then you get to the end of doing the setup, and it asks you what size model it is. And you tell it whether it's a 500 or a 600 or 700 or a 450 or whatever. And that preloads a bunch of stuff into it. And then the second wizard is the style wizard. And then that preload, and that asks you basically if you're a noob, a 3D pro, Bert Kammerer, or somewhere in the middle, and there's 4 different options there, I think, and again you just pick one that best describes yourself, and it'll preload a bunch of presets, which is one of the reasons why it's so easy to get set up and easy to get working initially in the first place, because you don't have to do the same level of fiddling just to get the basic kind of what size model is it stuff.
That's something that I noticed when we were doing the run through yesterday. I thought that was really, really intuitive, the way you can have those preset programs.
Yeah, definitely. It's really, really, really good. Right, I think it's time to move on to the news, because
I just want to before we move to the news, I just want to get one word from Bert. Bert, when you go into the setup mode, Do you use Bert Kammerer or do you use Sport?
I mean, what do you think?
Let's go to the news. Kev, are you there? Tell us everything. Tell us what's been going on, dude.
Yeah, I use Bert settings as well. Do you know what? As surprised as I was when the new V3 came out, I thought, "Oh, I'll try Bert settings." I expect them to be absolutely mental wild. It's exactly how it's exactly how I would fly my helicopter. Exactly how I would fly it.
Let me say something quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Big misconception about the flying style or the I guess you could say flying skill of the pilot and the settings they like. I know pilots that are better than I am. I mean, literally, I'm not going to mention names, but pros that are really, really good that fly setups that are slower than mine. And I know people in my local flying field that can barely do a flip or a roll, and they fly much faster cyclics or tails than I do. So it's mostly a matter of personal preference. It really has nothing to do with skill, really.
Just how you feel about the model and what you wanted to do, isn't it? Simple as that. Before we go to the news, I need to just quickly remind people, guys, we've had a massive flurry. Very, very surprised, very encouraged, in fact, by the amount of people who have gone onto the website, onto Spartan-RC.com, because they really want to get themselves one of these Spartan Flybarless units. Includes the data bot as well. So if you haven't yet registered, make sure you get over now to www.spartan-rc.com, and then in the top left-hand side you will see your unique reference number. Make sure you hold on to that. We've also got to say a big birthday. I'm going to say a big hello, to Shannon Mosquito or Shannon Makito. Sorry if I got that right. But it's our good friends. The reach for Rotors goes as far as India in Mumbai. I think it's about 4 o'clock in the morning for them guys. They've stayed up all night ready to watch the show. So I did start giving them a big plug. So hi Shannon, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget as well, guys, if you want to ask our guests any questions as per the show, as we do normally, hit the Q&A app. Just literally type us a question and we'll ask it to one of our guests, okay? So make sure you do that. So look at this website, Spartan-RC.com. Kev, I'm sorry for the delay, my friend. Let's do it.
Hey, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry. We know what you're like when you start rambling on. Right, anyway, as we...
I'll take that nicely.
Yeah, okay, good man. Right, anyway, as we sort of pointed and suggested in our last show, Bobby Watts, with his retail thing, Encore RC, that he's got over in the States, he's brought out a quad. It's called the Invertex 400. He's brought it out in public for the first time at the Mini Orlando Blowout in Florida. And its billed as being the first production fixed pitch 3D capable quadcopter. So where you got your Stingray, which is collective pitch, this is just a motor and a prop, and it does some fantastic wizardry. It can do 3D. We're
going to talk to Bert about that very shortly.
Yeah, we are. We certainly are. It comes as an RCF version only at the moment. Put your own receiver in it. It takes a 3S 2200 LiPo, which is like a 450 LiPo. Retail price is coming out in the States at $399, which roughly is about $250, $260 over here, something like that.
You know, that's not a bad price, is it?
That is an absolutely awesome price. I mean, we knew about it before the show because we've been talking to Bobby a little bit about it. We were expecting $300 to $400, weren't we? Something like that, and 250 quid. You know, it's just blown the Stingray out the water pretty much, hasn't it?
Well, they both have their purposes, I guess, and there are people who like the collective pitch side, but I guess for people who are perhaps trying to have a go at some of the TikToks and the maneuvers without risking big money, it's a good way for them to do that. Quick question or quick input.
Yeah, I mean I watched some of the videos, and the ones I think was it Carl that's flying.
Yeah, Carl Stacey. Yeah.
You can hear the noise the model's making, and it sounds absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
But equally, I'm struggling to see any kind of. I was watching for some sort of weirdness going on through the pitch reversals. So because the motor's got to slow right down, stop, and reverse and speed all the way back up again, all 4 of them when you do a pitch reversal. So you'd expect some sort of strangeness going on through the pitch reversals as you're going from positive to negative pitch, but I can't see much, if any, going on. But I know a man that's flown one.
Well,
and I think
wonder who that is.
Kind of,
unfortunately, it's not me.
no. But,
Let's jump over to Bert. Bert, your feelings, your thoughts on the invertex.
Who is it that's flown it? I'm looking for. I'm just kidding. No, it's great. I love the thing. When the quad was right before it was to be released, I took Bobby out on a trip on the plane. We went for fun one day, and he had brought as a surprise a quad for me to fly. And obviously, I'm sure he wanted me to help him promote it. But hey, that's what friends are for. We help each other. And I flew it, and it was great. It is really nice. What I like about it is that I could see. I don't think you can learn very advanced maneuvers with it. Simply because it's a quad, and the visual on it is not the same as the visual on a helicopter. But I think it's a great tool for somebody who wants to learn some basic 3D. Because the beauty of it is when you crash it real hard, you don't really break anything. I mean, I've crashed this thing probably 3 times, and the most that I broke is just props. The propellers break, and the propellers are cheap. I forgot how much they're selling them for, like just a handful of dollars for 4, $8 for 4. I mean, it's nothing. It's really cheap.
What's the weight of it, mate?
I honestly haven't weighed. I don't know what the weight is. It feels a little bit heavy.
Comparison to something our heli friends out there would relate to. The size of a 550 motor, or
it's so hard to tell, Nick, because it's such a different. It's so different, you know. There's nothing really to compare it to. I mean, I couldn't really even tell you, but. The only thing that feels a little bit strange, and it's not really strange, but there's a little bit of course, a little bit of delay when you switch from the positive to the negative side of the collective, of course, because it has to stop and go back. It happens extremely, extremely fast, but you still have to push air in the other direction. So there's a little bit of a delay when it comes to that, but I don't think it's a delay that affects anything. I think if anything, it's good for people to learn how to manage, collective inputs and stuff like that. So it's cool. I think it's a really great toy. So for the money, you can't beat it.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose when it goes from positive to negative, you most probably hear it, not see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just hear it. You don't really see it. It happens really quickly. You just don't have that immediate, change of collective like you would on a collective helicopter. But it happens quickly. It's not like you have to wait on it or anything. Like you don't have to wait. It's hard to explain. You would have to try it, but it's really nice, and it sounds cool. It really does.
I'm sure we'll have more videos posted, sort of in the next few weeks, no doubt, of this. What is, very exciting new addition to the industry. I think we've got a question from Dave Fisher.
I was going to say, we're talking about the props stopping. There's a video of Bobby flying advertising invertex on YouTube at the moment, and he's standing in the background and he pushes the invertex forwards in a flip in slow motion, and you actually see the blade stop and reverse right in front of him. Oh, so wow. If you check that out, you can see it looks great.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm sure our listeners and watchers will do that. Let's just jump back to Kev. Kev, we've got some more news.
Yep, we have certainly. Gaui, they've been saying they're going to release something special for ages. Turns out it's a Nitro X7. They call it the NX7. Dunkan Bossion was seen flying one at a kosher in France last weekend, and it does look pretty sexual, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Not a great deal of info out at the minute. I don't know. A little bird tells me Stuart knows a little bit about this. Stu, do you know anything about this NX7?
Stu, just unmute your microphone. Control D, mate. Stu, Control D. Oh, his microphone's gone off now completely. There you go.
Has it done it?
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh, I was trying Control D and something's coming up in the corner here. Yeah, I've seen when I was there. It happened.
What are your
flew.
thoughts, mate? What are your thoughts?
It's big.
Right.
Is it
Very
much
big.
Is it much bigger than the X7, Stu? Do you reckon?
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than the X7. Some people are like saying like, oh, it's similar size to the X7, but the canopy is like 1.5 times the size. It's massive.
Well, it's not like sort of 820 size, surely.
Well, no, I'd compare it more to like a Logo. I think it was even a bit bigger than my Logo 700 canopy.
Wow. Okay.
So it's quite a bit bigger than the X7. Appearance-wise, obviously, it's running a lot of the same stuff as the X7.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll find out more about that. I mean, because for competition pilots, perhaps for competition pilots, electric is the way forward. So a machine of that size, you know, one wonders what market there is out there for an X, you know, for a Nitro of that size. Stu, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think we'll see many of the competition pilots this year flying it?
No, none of the competition pilots use it. It's the best thing about it is Dunkan Bossion's got something for Zone Village this year.
Right, yeah, because we do like, if you've never come down to Zone Village in itself for the halfway house is an event on its own. We've got all the guys piling down, everyone hangs out, the weather's been, touch wood, it's been great for the last couple of years, hopefully it will again. We're supposed to be having a heat wave here in the UK, but it's a real great atmosphere, everybody's drinking beer, everybody's having a good time, the pilots are out there flying their socks off, and Dunkan Bossion has got his own little, shall we say, little niche at the Zone Village. It's a real great atmosphere. Come down and check it out and have a good time with us. So yeah, so Duncan's going to come along and showcase this new Nitro from Gaui then this year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something about the Nitro in the evenings. It's just great fun, and they don't seem to mind crashing them either.
Especially if you're a sponsored pilot. Yeah. So what are you flying at the moment, Stu?
I got 2 Logo 700s. I got Logo 600. And I've got Gaui X42 and NX4 and X7 also. Okay.
And what machine would you use for competition?
At the moment, I'm using the Logo 700 for competition.
Okay, cool. We're going to jump back. I'm going to go back to Kev to finish off the news. But before we do that, remember, guys, we've got the tally counter of people who have registered for this is quite high. So if you want to get a chance to get your hands on one of those Spartan gyros, okay, get yourself over to the website right now. It's www.spartan-rc.com. All you got to do is check out the logo on the top left-hand side of the home page. That is your unique number. Don't tell anybody. Just save it. Hold on to that number, and all we're going to do is read out a number, and if it's yours, you've won. You don't have to answer any questions or any paraphernalia or messing around like that. It's literally just a prize draw. It's an electronic prize draw, and it's done automatically. It logs your IP address, okay? So it's all above board, and we've done all the code, or our good friend Angelos, courtesy of Spartan, has done it for us. So yeah, please get on there if you want to win it. All right, so let's go back to Kev for the news.
Yeah, just a quick one before we go to the next one. Yes, my Spartan T-shirt is in the wash.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Stu Stansbury there on the Q&A. He's just asked if my Spartan T-shirt's in the wash. I normally wear it, don't I? But it's in the wash. Right, anyway, back to the news. RJX Vector X. RJX helis over in China. Not released anything for a while now, but they've just released some teaser pics of what they're calling the new Vector X heli. It's a 700 size fuselage heli. To me, it looks like a bespoke speed machine, but they're actually pitching it as a 3D concept, for 3D. Bit weird. I mean, if you're looking at the pictures on the screen there, I mean, I would say that looks more like a speed machine than a 3D. But I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of details out at the minute, and they're going to have the official release on the 4th of July at Venlo.
All right, okay. So, we'll check that out, guys. Let's have some thoughts on this. If I could just bring Bert in, if you don't mind. Bert, what are your? We can't actually see under the canopy, unfortunately. We've got any photos of it naked?
No, we haven't.
No.
No, I didn't think so. What does that look like to you, Bert?
Looks good.
Does it remind you of anything?
I'd rather not say.
Exactly. It's just one of those. You know, obviously Goblin are the SAB are the trendsetters here. What are your thoughts, Dave?
I would say that it looks expensive. I've dealt with fuselages with F3C, and when you're 3Ding and pushing to the limits, fitting a new fuselage every time you crash is probably going to be, as I say, a bit on the expensive side.
Yeah. It's purely built for speed, though, I would imagine. Did you say, Kev, that it's designed for 3D as well?
Yeah. They're RJX are actually saying it's for 3D, but to me it just looks like a speed machine. To be perfectly honest, you know, it's a strange one. But it's interesting what you're saying there, Dave, about the fuselages for 3D, and obviously you're gonna crash doing 3D. It's inevitable. I mean, one of the things I said in the news a few weeks ago, Align have got a speed fuselage coming out, and they've just released the price for that, £160 for the speed canopy and boom cover. Okay. Now, if you think about it, you got the T-Rex, you've got you're gonna stick it in the ground, so you got a canopy, a boom cover, a boom, a torque tube bearings. Man, that's going to be an expensive crash.
Yeah, but the plan is not to.
Well, yeah.
But
yeah.
Nick,
I mean,
Nick, what is the point of this? I want to ask you the question. You're the announcer. I want to get your take on this. What is the point of this? Of having these goblin-looking things? I don't understand.
What is the point of them? Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they want us. I could answer that in several ways. Until we see under the canopy, we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
There's obviously helicopter brands which trend set. Then everybody has to catch up, and they want a slice of that market. Whether or not they're actually the same quality components, the same level of R&D, the same level of usability, maintenance, if it all kind of ticks all those boxes, and if it's completely unique and it's not ripping somebody else's designs off, then you've got to give them credit. But at the same time, it's a saturated market. There's only so many people to sell to. And you know, you can't expect people to just start swapping from manufacturer to manufacturer. These are expensive things. So, you know, people don't migrate easily from manufacturer to manufacturer. Their hard-earned money is tied up, and they love their machines until the machines stop loving them. So that's how I see it. We're gonna roll on. We're gonna talk to Angelos again, because I want to drill into Spartan RC, and this is where the conversation between Angelos and Bert kind of comes good here. Angelos, the market for Flybarless units, as we all know, is quite busy. The whole idea of coming on the show today is because I and everybody else listening and watching really wants to find out, why should people buy your Spartan machine and your Spartan gyro?
I think partly already we discussed this. It is exceptionally good, flybarless system to fly. It's easy to set up. I had quite a few emails. I won't say quite a few, but I had a few emails from people that said, I'm glad I bought it, because it gives me confidence to my flying. So I think there is benefits there from the beginner's level all the way up to the more demanding pilots that want performance.
But if you've recently set up Spartan USA, the kind of questions that people are asking you about Spartan, can you share with us, kind of the threads, the kind of questions the general questions that people may be asking you about Spartan RC?
Well, I mean, the questions range from all kinds of stuff, anything from how to set it up to what's so different, what's so good about it, or what's different about it. I mean, there's all kinds of different questions.
Okay.
But I think, like it was said before here on the show, I think David said it, I think the unit is very, in my opinion, comparing it to many other units, I think one of the most important parts about the unit is the fact that it's very easy to set up. And the other thing that is really good about it is that, one, your default setting, per se, your initial setting works across multiple helicopters very well. So even though you might need to do some tweaking, there is very, very little tweaking to do. If anything, you might want to adjust the speed of the cyclic, the speed of the tail, maybe the different expo, but the actual functionality or the actual behavior of the helicopter is, I could say, very accurate, whether it is a 450 or a 700 class machine on stock settings. Works really well.
That's the question I was going to ask you. Is there some Flybarless units perform better on larger, faster, heavier machines? That's not the case with Spartan, no?
No, not necessarily. I've tested on all kinds of models. I mean, I even had, obviously SAB doesn't make a small helicopter, but I have many friends at the local field that have small machines, and I tested on Gauis, I tested on Aligns, I tested on a lot of different helicopters, and I found that the stock settings work exceptionally well, no matter what the machine size is. So that's a really good thing about it. Yeah.
That's a good selling point.
Yeah,
absolutely, mate. We've got a question, please, from Aid, from one of our listeners.
Yeah, this is a nice time to chime in, actually, talking about the small stuff. Dustin has got a question about are SAB going to release a 450 or a 3 something or other?
I can't really say much about it, but yes, it will be released at some point. At some point in the future. Yeah. I've been told not to say much about it, so I really can't. But yes, it will be released.
I think that warrants.
I
think that warrants a big. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fantastic. But you didn't, guys at home. You didn't hear that off first, okay? Can we take some more? No. We'll take that out in the edit.
Yeah. Okay.
What you say? Are we live?
I think we are, right? Maybe, I don't know.
Aid, have we got any more questions from our learned listeners?
Yeah, I'm just going to run through some of the higher +1 ones.
Let's do it.
That's hard to say. Angelos, do you have any plans to incorporate a self-level or rescue mode similar to other FBLs on the market?
I'm sure it will come at some point. I don't know when that will be. Obviously, as we discussed earlier, the governor is the next one in the queue. And then we will evaluate again where we are with the remaining work and plan something ahead.
Excellent.
Okay. Next.
Angelos again. What do you think the next advancement in FBL will be?
Oh, it's very difficult to say. The units are getting very good. They're getting to the point which is very difficult to improve anything on them. So, if you follow the multicopter market, it is likely that we will start seeing GPS and self-leveling becoming more common. I personally have no need for that. I just like to fly the helicopter. I don't want it to fly on its own, you know. But I think it will become a common feature in due course.
Okay.
Excellent. And Bert. This is a question that also I'm quite interested in as well, from Russell Cleaver, especially in terms of getting the overspeed. I mean, the tail slide is obviously a tail slide with some bits and pieces thrown in for good measure, but I mean, the bit that makes the McDougall a McDougall for me is the overspeed at the bottom. So
absolutely, yeah.
How are you getting that overspeed?
I think you just have to apply. I think it has a lot to do with how quickly you make your attitude change, because you're coming down, I guess, at as vertical as you can. So how quickly you make this attitude change, and how aggressive you feed pitch in the direction of travel. So if you're coming down, for example, like this, and you're gonna end up like this, when you're here, you're at 0 pitch, and you reach terminal velocity going down. So you pull back elevator, and you have to be very aggressive, and when you get here, you have to push a lot of negative pitch, and that's what causes the overspeed. So I guess how quickly you do this and how aggressively you force that negative pitch is what determines the overspeed. Obviously, you could do it like that too, and how quickly you do the 4 elevator and the and the positive, and in this case, the positive pitch instead of negative. It's
There's
what
no-
determines
nose
how
down
much of
wall.
overspeed. Yeah.
That's your nose down wall, isn't it? So, and when you get to that, when you get to
I mean, you could be coming down straight down, and then you can flatten it out like this, to where the skits almost touch the ground, or you can come down like this and flatten it out like that, to where you're upside down. Obviously, if you can get away with a mistake here and barely touch the ground, like I did in Argentina, and still fly out of it. But if you do it like this, and you barely touch the ground, you're not going to be flying out of it. You're going to go pick up the pieces. So.
But I tell you what, that is the one I've been pushing and talking to all the pilots in the UK about. This is the one that all the pilots I know are going to be trying this year.
And it's such a simple maneuver. It really is. What's difficult is to pull out at the last possible second to where you're an inch off the ground. I mean, that is very hard to do, and you don't need any special skill. I think that's more a matter of whether the person has the hand-eye coordination. I believe there's people that have more better or more coordinated, I guess, the redundancy, hand-eye coordination than others. I don't think it's something that you can practice. I think you either have it in you or not. But as far as doing the maneuver, I think the maneuver is one of the easiest in the world. It's just pulling out that last second. And like I said before, I think we started the show, I don't pull out like every time. Sometimes it actually reaches the ground because I try too low. So
yeah, I have the same thing. I try not to pull out too quick.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So
we get a question from Dave. Dave Fisher, we got a question from you.
Same old. Oh, yeah, I've got my mic off now. No, it's just coming back to this question you had for Angelos about self-leveling and bailout and things like this. I think the bailout is quite useful, but just as a matter of interest, I have customers who've been using Robbie Heli Command. Not my customers I've been teaching, may I add, for years, but they come along to me because they got stuck. They've been using this self-leveling, and they've been 5 years not been able to get off of it once they've started using it. So just something to think about if you use self-leveling.
Okay, good point there, mate. Because it can be like with buddy leads, can't it? It can be for the student. It can be like a lifeline that they don't want to do without. I'm not going to go on the buddy lead. Do you know? It can kind of go the other way, I guess, can't it?
Absolutely. It's interesting. I've had to start to teach people to be able to switch the self-level off. So the second it switches off, they go to pieces, and it's a psychological thing.
It's like having your stabilizers off, isn't it? Aid to you.
Right. If you want to be a part of winning this, possibly winning this VX1N Vortex with Databod, you need, and you haven't been to the Spartan website yet, and you haven't clicked that the Rotors logo, you need to do it now. Right now.
Because we're closing the competition.
Very, very soon. So
yeah.
Get in there and get your number.
We got your number. Spartan-RC.com. Get your unique number. Do it now because we're going to close. I say close the lines. That's an old saying, isn't it? But we're gonna close the comp. We're gonna close the prize draw off very shortly, and then Angelos is gonna go away and tote it all up and make sure that we get a random winner. Okay, so do it now, guys, if you haven't done it already. So, right. Also, we need to take some more Q&As as well. I want to drill more into Bert's lifestyle, his work with BK Servos, where he's going in the future, and where we've seen him this year. We're going to talk more with Stu Smith. Let's go have a quick chat. Stu, let's bring you back in. Do you enjoy your cup of tea? We're going to just unmute Stu. There we do. Just quickly do it. Just bear with me a second, buddy. Right, Stu's microphone, I'm going to pull that over to Aid, actually. I'm going to whip back over to Angelos very quickly. Stu's got a small problem with the microphone not muting it. Angelos, let's just bring you back in a sec, please.
Yep.
So where can people see you this year at the Heli events?
The one we're preparing for is the HeliFest Heli Masters.
Yep.
We're definitely going to be there. and we'll try to attend as many fun flights as we can. It is very likely that I will also be at the ERTSA Jamboree in August.
Can you say that again slower, just so people can hear that again? Sorry,
it's very likely I will be attending the ERTSA Jamboree in USA.
Oh, the URCHA, right, okay, URCHA in June, okay, sorry, in August, yes, absolutely fantastic. Okay, so there will be events. We've got, as Angelos has just said, you can come and see Angelos and ask him as many questions as you want at Helifest Western Park, which is on the 15th of June. Back to Stu Smith. Stu.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy? You enjoy your cup of tea?
Bit milky.
We want to know about Zone. Now listen, Zone is coming up. We've just got this weekend and then next weekend. Zone format is back. What's going to go down this year, buddy? Because we've got some fabulous pilots, haven't we?
Yeah, we got all sorts this year. We got probably the strongest lineup yet. So we got 5 guys coming from the US. We've got new European pilots.
Let's just run through who we got, man, because this is a lineup and a half. Nick Maxwell.
Yeah, we got Nick. We got Kyle Stacey, Mitch Morozas, Ben Storick.
Jamie.
So yeah, Jamie's back again. He's looking for his 3rd win.
Yeah, exactly. We had when Zone first started. It started off at Western Park, and it was a final between Sebastian Zeus and Duncan Osborne. Duncan took the win, and then it moved to Fleet Air Arm Museum in Yeovilton, and in fine style, Jamie Robertson took the trophy along with the £1,000 prize money, and then he got it for the 2nd year as well. And it was so close between him and, was it Eaton Goldstein or was it Ben? It was
Eaton last year.
Eaton, wasn't it? Yes. And then this year, well, it's all to play for. The biggest knockout competition in the world. This is Zone format, and Stu is the man behind it. Can you tell people how, if they want to come down to the Fleet Air Arm Museum, how do they buy tickets?
You can log on to fleetairarm.com. I'm sure we can post that up somewhere afterwards. If you go into their events section on their website, and then you can book for, it's called the RC Air Show, because for general public, Zone doesn't really mean anything. So RC Air Show is kind of what it is. So
let's just. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, for tickets, if you book on Sunday, which is the first day of competition, on entry you'll be asked to gift aid that donation. If you gift aid the donation, you get back into the next day for free. And it also gives you free entry to come back as many times as you want during the year, so it's a pretty good deal.
And if anybody, you know, for guys and girls who are listening or watching this show, if you've not been down to Zone yet, where on earth have you been? You must come down to see us. It is one of the most exciting and adrenaline-packed knockout competitions. These guys have come from literally all over the world to fly this competition, and it really is head-to-head. It's knuckle-clenching stuff. And also, if you want to go and check out the famous, world-famous, in fact, Fleet Air Arm Museum, there's the Concorde, the first ever Concorde there. You've got all of the World War II, World War I, vintage aircraft as museum. The museum is jam-packed full of helicopters and planes and all sorts of really interesting and cool stuff. So you can come along and watch, basically get entry into the museum and watch the competition for free over the weekend, and then come and see us at the Zone Village at the halfway house of the road. So it's going to be a great weekend. Who's your money on, Stu?
I think I was looking at it earlier. For me, there's probably about 10 pilots that could win it, easily could win it. So it's wide open.
And it's going to be such an interesting, and people can obviously check out the website zoneformat.co.uk, or go to the Facebook page. All the information on there for you to check out. And of course, Dave Fisher, just bring you back into this, just to quickly chat about Zone format. Then we're going to have a word with Bert and Angelos again. Now, I think just before we go ahead with that, guys, we've got so much to cover. We've covered such a lot during the show already, but it looks like we may have to, or looks like we're going to actually overrun by another half an hour, 3/4 an hour. So wherever you are at home, guys, I hope you don't mind, but just sit back, go get yourself a beer or a drink, and we're just going to chill out and hang out and have a good time for a little bit longer. Just before we speak to Dave very quickly, I've just had notification that the competition the free prize draw to win yourself a Spartan Vortex Flybarless system is now closed. So please don't register again. That's it. You've got no chance. The guys behind the scenes are going to go away and do what they need to do, and then we'll find us out a winner, which we will announce later on in the show. So stay with us. So Dave Fisher, what's your experience of Zone, and why do you keep coming back?
Very intensive competition, massive, massively exciting, big pilots there, big names. But the thing is, it's a knockout, so you are flying 1-to-1 against another pilot, which is different to other competitions. It's a bit like playing a tennis tournament. You're knocked out by one person before you can go on. And initially, when you think about it, you think, I wonder if that's going to work out and get the real winner, and it does. When you see the final result, the person that wins generally is a true winner. So it's a great competition. Good idea.
Fantastic. And Dave, it's a family event as well, isn't it? You bring your family down, all of the pilots. It is from wherever they are in the world. In fact, it is the whole idea is to bring everybody down, bring the family down, and just have a great time. Fantastic. It's a really, really fantastic event.
That's right. Remember, it's the Fleet Air Arm, so the family have got something to look at as well as the helicopters. They can keep themselves entertained.
Correct. Let's have a quick word with Aid, please.
Hello.
Hey, sorry. Okay, so am I right in saying the prize draw has now closed?
The prize draw has now closed.
Okay, right. Do we know how long from Angelos's perspective? Angelos, I believe, is going to go away and do what he needs to do to make sure he's got everything what he needs to in order for us to find us a winner. Yeah.
Yes, he is indeed. We should be knowing fairly soon.
Fantastic. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to give away the first ever prize draw here on Rotors, the RC helicopter show. Right. Okay. Now I need to step out for a minute, guys, because I need to have a, shall we say, a comfort break. I'm just going to turn my camera off. Aid, would you mind? We've got a lot of questions we want to ask Bert and Angelos. Would you mind just stepping in there, just doing that for me while I disappear for a moment?
Yep, that's fine, no problem at all, Nick. Let's crack on with some questions then, shall we? So, I'm not sure if this is really kind of aimed at Kev or me or both, but hang on, Nick hasn't muted himself, right. Kev, do we get crash pictures of the 570?
With me flying, it won't be long.
With me flying, hopefully not. This is more of a statement than a question from Ant Hall, but apparently you rock. And Michelle Mantle, I've just finished my silver Goblin 570 from Midland Helicopters. Let me tell you, chaps, she flies like a beauty, grins from ear to ear. I think that's the date of approval. Don't you think, Bert?
Can you say that again?
She flies like a beauty, grins from ear to ear on the Goblin 570.
Nice. The 570 is nice.
It sounded
actually, that's my favorite right now.
Any particular reason for that?
Just because generally I change, my favorite changes from time to time, and I think it has a lot to do with what I'm working on, what I'm testing at the moment. So before the 570 release, I was flying it so much that I got accustomed to it, and I think it has a lot to do with that. Every time a new helicopter is released and I get to do a lot of flying and a lot of testing with it, I get so in tune with the machine that it becomes sort of my favorite until the next one comes along. But all in all, the 570 is just a great size because it's small, almost like a 500, but it flies more like a 600. So it's a really good size, I think, for beginners as well as for experienced pilots. Doesn't need that much room, as much room as a 700. It's lighter, it's easier to carry. Single battery if you choose to use single battery. So, it's just a good overall size.
Yeah, I'm from where I fly. I prefer the slightly smaller heli, the sort of 500, 520 size. But the sites I generally fly are quite cramped. But next question from Paul Reed. I was wondering if Bert is planning on coming over to Helifest at Weston Park again this year.
Yes, I will be there. Yep.
Excellent. Be good to see you then. It's great to see some of the American pilots coming over, to realise that there are places outside of the USA.
Yes, looking forward to it. It was a lot of fun last year, so looking forward to doing it again this year. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Question for Bert. Another one. Having flown the Brain and the V-Bar and the Vortex and the Beast X, how is the experience compared to V-Bar, Brain, Beast X, Bavarian Demon with regards to setup, flying characteristics, and why Vortex over these systems? How good is it?
He's asking how does V-Bar compare? I missed that part of the question. Having tried all the units?
He's basically saying, as you've flown, you've flown pretty much all of them on the market, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Time. What is it specifically, aside from sort of the distribution and that sort of things?
Of course.
The actual flying side. Sort of, what is it about the Vortex that does it for you?
I really like the simplicity of the setup. That the fact that you can take the data pod, plug it in, and once you've, obviously the first time, there's always a learning curve to everything. But once you've done the setup once or twice and you know what you're doing, the amount of time it takes to set up a unit is, I mean, I don't know, Angelos, what would you say? 2 minutes. It's so quick. It's so easy to do. So simplicity of setup is one. And the overall feel. I believe when Angelos started to work on this, his main algorithm is based on some sort of flybar simulator, if I'm not mistaken. And that doesn't really mean the unit is going to fly like a flybar, but the unit does certainly have its own unique feel. And it's something that I really can't just describe by telling you, oh, it feels like this or like that. It's just, every unit feels different. And unfortunately, you have to try it to know what I'm talking about. But the same applies to all of them, the V-Bar, the Beast X. They all have their own unique feel. And there's just something about the feel of the Spartan that I like a lot. But all in all, I think the package on the Vortex VX1N, the Nano, the overall package, considering the fact that it's a single unit, it uses a very high-end, fully digital sensor. It's easy to set up. You don't need a computer to set it up, although a computer will be available. But all those things together, I think, is what really does it for me.
Wow, excellent stuff, mate. Good to know. So yeah, Bert, you're coming to Helifest, Helimasters at Weston Park, 14th, 15th of June. Looking forward to that, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. We're actually in the studio just last week, just gone, recording the promo videos for the the videos and the interviews that you did last year. So that's pretty cool. Dave, we've got a question from Bert. We got a question from Dave.
Okay.
Yes, hi Bert. I wanted to ask you while you were here your preference over the DFC head and the HPS head. What you find the major difference between them?
I honestly like the simplicity of the DFC head on the Goblin by a lot. But the problem with the DFC head is the fact that you have to constantly be looking over it requires more maintenance, I guess you could say. It requires tight dampening, and it requires constant maintenance in the sense that you want to make sure your dampening on the rotor head is always tight. There's very little forgiveness if you have an issue with dampening or with thrust bearings. It's more prone to failures. I really personally never had a failure on the head itself, but I know that. But my dampening was always tight. It was always set up properly. What I like about the HPS head, and the reason why I run the HPS head predominantly, is because I can run a little bit softer dampening, not too soft, but soft enough to where I can run lower head speeds and not get a tail wobble, tail elevator bounce wobble. So overall, I think it's just a more mechanically sound setup. And not just with the Goblin. I strictly believe that having just a standard head with the normal swash driver, it's from an engineering standpoint a better design overall. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think it's probably less harsh on the mechanics, isn't it?
That too, absolutely, a lot less harsh. Absolutely, yeah.
So, just talking about Flybarless heads, I hear on the grapevine that SAB bringing out a 3-bladed head. That's correct, yeah?
Yeah. Did you see that post on Facebook?
Yeah. We all did. What have you've seen it yet? Have you tested it?
I've seen it. I haven't flown it yet. It wasn't ready to fly when I saw it, but one of the guys in Italy is testing it now on a F3C machine. And then we're going to do some tests on speed machines. And I'm coming up to Italy in about 3 weeks. I'll be doing some tests on 3D machines. And I think it's probably going to be ready for release around July or August.
Okay.
So, it's just a fad. It seems like a lot of people want to go with the 3-bladed rotor heads. So we're going to do what people want. If people want 3 blades, we'll give them 3 blades.
Supply and demand, mate. Supply and demand.
But I'm curious to do this because there's some reality to there's a true fact about the fact that if you have the 3 blades, you can get the same performance with a lower head speed. And I'm just gonna try it. I mean, why not? Normally with the dynamics of rotor design and helicopters, you really can see a lot of things in theory and on paper, but until you actually try them in the real world, you really don't get an accurate assessment.
I mean, we've seen some fantastic videos that Nick Maxwell has posted with his 3-bladed. I think it's an E720.
Yeah,
that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Nick can certainly fly, no doubt.
Absolutely, yeah. I want to just go back and talk to you about your early days, Bert. What was your kind of inspiration? How did you get into flying helicopters?
I've been flying. I've always been interested in aviation, RC, since the time I was just a little kid. Not just helicopters, but airplanes and full scale, just aviation in general. And I flew RC airplanes for many, many years. I think I started back in 1983, 84, when I was only 12 years old. And I would say about 11 to 12 years ago, I walked into the local hobby shop here. I was flying airplanes at the time, RC airplanes. I walked into the local hobby shop. I saw this little thing. It was a Hummingbird fixed pitch made by Century. I mean, it's looking back, it was a terrible helicopter. But I saw it, and I fell in love with it, and I bought it. And that's how it all started. I remember going home and going in my garage and just trying to hover this thing. And, within 2-3 days, I was hovering it and trying to fly around, and then realized this is not the right helicopter to fly to learn forward flight with. So I went back to the hobby shop and bought, I think my next one was a Raptor 50. So I made that huge jump from it was a Hirobo. It was a Hirobo Shuttle 30. So it was this huge jump from a fixed pitch little helicopter running Nightcat batteries to a Hirobo Shuttle 30 Nitro helicopter. And that machine is what taught me to fly, forward flight and loops and rolls and auto rotations. And then about a year after that, there was a little fun fly here in Orlando, and Marcus Kim showed up at the event. And I will never forget, because I've seen videos back in those days. You could only see like Curtis Youngblood flying. I mean, there were only a handful of really good pilots around the world. Maybe Curtis Youngblood and Alan Szabo. I mean, there were like maybe 3 or 4 maximum. And I saw Marcus Kim flying up close and personal at this event, and he was flying a Fury from Miniature Aircraft. And it was so impressive that it was like, I have to learn to do this. Somehow I have to learn it. And then it just kind of went from there. So.
Wow, so kind of a big jump there from a very, very basic sort of 450 size helicopter to a Raptor 50, and then presumably you progressed pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good job at the time. I was I was part owner in a big IT company, so I had a lot. I was kind of my own boss, so I had a lot of free time. So every day after, I would say 2 or 3, I would leave the office and just go to flying field and get several flights in, and then go back to the office. And every time I had an opportunity, I would just go to the flying field again and again. I had the bug. I was very addicted. So yeah, it didn't take long before I was flying well, and then I became a rep, or I guess a pilot for Miniature Aircraft, and I was with them for a short time until Jason Krause offered me a deal with Align, and that's how it all kind of started. I think the Align thing started in 2006. It's been like 8 years now since I started doing this, in a, I guess you could say, full-time
professional.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So there you go, kids. With hard work, dedication, and perseverance, you can go from flying a out-of-the-box, ready-to-fly kind of helicopter to, the heights of flying as a team principal pilot for one of the, well, if not one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, and also branch out as well, like you have done, Bert. I hear really, really great stories and news about the BK range of servos. Man,
well,
they seem to be flying out, yeah?
One thing I want to mention is, I get this question all the time, and I think your show is great to let people know about the way I feel about becoming a pilot like this. Today, everybody, I go to these events. I remember 10 years ago, you go to an event and you would not see anybody doing anything that was, the most they would do is inverted hover, and everybody was like, wow, this is so amazing. Now you go to any event and the person who you least expect, the 12-year-old, the 9-year-old, the 14-year-old kid, is doing amazing, 3D maneuvers on the deck, half a foot off the ground. And a lot of them aspire to become this well-known, pilot and work in the hobby or have some sort of career in the hobby. And what I always recommend people is like, look, don't ever give up on an education in exchange for this. This is just a hobby. And the flying part is just secondary to making a living in the hobby. To make a living in the hobby, you have to have either some kind of business degree or you have to have an engineering degree or some kind of technical background, like Angelos, like all these guys that have become successful. They have an education and former proper training on some kind of career. So don't think that because you can fly a helicopter really well and you can place first at Heli Masters or Zone or XFC, you're gonna become the next person that makes a living in this. Making a living in this is not easy. It's very difficult. But flying is also a fraction of it. You have to be willing to help people. You know the whole story. The flying, I always tell everybody, the flying is just a fraction of it. When I compare my flying skills today to some of the newer, younger pilots, my flying skills are really put to shame if you think of it. But there's other things that I work on, helping people, and obviously on the technical side of things and the R&D side of things. So, but it's been a fascinating journey the last 10 years, no doubt.
And it will still carry on. I want to talk to you about BK servos in a minute, but it's absolutely right what you say, guys out there. This is a hobby. But at the same time, it is a business, and it just so happens. Bert mentioned there the winner of these competitions. It just so happens that the winner of Heli Masters was Kyle Dahl, and he does have a full-time job from it as a result. But the people who do get the full-time jobs are very, very fraction of a percentage. But you've got to have the whole package, haven't you? You've got to announce the whole package. You've got to have the personality, the willingness to engage with people. You've got to have a personality. Right, we're going to talk to you about BK servos in a minute, but I know this is the part of the show where so many people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, have in fact registered because they all want to get their hands on one of these Spartan gyros, this Flybarless unit. So, and it includes the data bar. Did we say that? Yeah, I think we did. Right, okay, we're just going to have a little bit of quiet air just for a moment because I'm just waiting on the technical guys from Spartan RC to tell me who is the winner, and it should pop up in my little window anytime now. So guys, good luck. If you've registered for this freebie competition, I hope your name's going to be called out, and we're just waiting for the notification from Angelos and his team. If you can send that to me now, I will read it out. So here we go. Angelos?
Nick, 8 has the photograph.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Right. Okay, here is the winning ticket. Right, the winning ticket is 1 Foxtrot 5 Alpha 53 Alpha 1. If that is you, 1 Foxtrot 5 Alpha 53 A1 What you need to do now is this. Listen very, very carefully. Here we go. All you need to do is let us know the remaining number of that you had when you registered, when you clicked on the Spartan RC website. You would have had the remaining 4 numbers. If those initial numbers are yours, I'll read them again. 1F5A53A1. If that's your number, you need to email us the remaining 4 numbers to activate and to guarantee you're going to be the winner. What you've got to do is send an email now to adrianchapmanlaw@gmail.com. That address is Adrian, ADRIAN, chap, CHAPMANLAW. That's all one word. I'll read that again. Adrian, ADRAIN, chap, CHAPMANLAW @gmail.com. AdrianChapmanLaw@gmail.com. If that is your winning number, email Adrian now and we will announce the winner of the Spartan Vortex live on the Rotor show. Just back to Bert there, I want to talk to you about your BK servos. Now, I know you've had them on sale now for quite some time, and very recently you've just had the full-size BK servos released. Man, I know they're going really well for you. You must be really pleased, Bert.
Yeah, I actually am. The whole idea, I think, came out of the fact that when I was flying when I was first testing with the original prototype of the Goblin 500, I noticed that there were just no I guess you could say mid-size servos that had any significant power or torque. So I know there was a company in China that was making them, but the deadband wasn't right. There were a couple of things that I wasn't too happy with. So I reached out to the manufacturer and suggested a few changes. And the manufacturer actually told me, well, why don't we make them? Let's just find a name. And with my lack of creativity, we just ended up using my initials. And no, they work great. You know, they have a lot of torque, they have a lot of speed. The deadband has been optimized for most Flybarless systems. And you know, after I released this several months later, you know, over the course of time, people started asking for a full size.
Right.
So looked into the full size, released them, I believe, early in the year, and so far they're doing really, really good. Really happy with it. Really happy with it.
Quick question. That's great to know, mate. When you mentioned there about deadband, obviously when you're setting up a Flybarless unit, there is a deadband facility, which basically, as far as I understand it, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the deadband is basically if there's any wear on the gimbals, there's any sort of dead space in the middle on the gimbals, the Flybarless system will allow and account for that. When you mentioned about deadband on the servos, what do you mean?
It's completely different. I mean, the deadband you're talking about is the deadband as it travels from. I mean, Angelos would be able to chime in on this and probably give a better explanation about it. But the deadband on the Flybarless system is nothing more than a setting that allows you to I guess you could say, deaden the center portion of the stick to where it takes a little bit more stick movement to get the Flybarless unit to actually send the pulse to the servo. The servo deadband is something that is built into the servo, and it has to do with how much pulse the servo needs to receive before it starts to move in a certain direction. And correct me if I'm wrong, Angelos. You might be able to explain that better if you care to listen to Nick.
I think the explanation Bert gave is very good. I can't explain it any better in simple terms. It's just basically how much change the servo needs to see on the signal before it starts to move.
Exactly.
And there is a reason that is there, because if you don't have any deadband, the servo will always, the motor will always be powered on and keep buzzing. So you need to have a tiny little bit of deadband so the servo can settle somewhere. But you know, you don't want too much, because then you don't get the fine control that you need. Exactly.
If you have too much deadband on a servo, which happens on some servos that are out on the market, then you can notice it in the air. Actually, if it's too much of it, then the helicopter starts to feel like it's not connected. It's behind you. It seems like it's just, you can never catch up to it. It's really hard to explain, but you'd actually feel it, even in something as simple as a hover.
Maybe it doesn't like to settle somewhere, isn't it? It just likes to either move to the left or move to the right.
It wants to constantly wander, correct.
Okay.
So that is a very important setting, Nick, that a lot of people take for granted, the deadband on the servo. Of course, the speed and the torque are very important too, but a lot of people also seem to think that the torque is more important than it is. And, you know, I get all these countless of questions about, you know, or comments about people saying, well, I want a servo, but I need 40 kilograms of torque. No, you don't. You know, you're flying a CCPM helicopter. It doesn't matter if it's a 700 or a local 800 or whatever. You don't need that much torque. You need enough torque to be able for the servos to carry the swatch plate through demanding maneuvers. But you need a good compromise of torque and speed. And I think, and obviously the higher the torque, the slower the speed. You cannot get both. So I think that, for example, with the full-size PK servos, what I've done is I've worked with the manufacturer to try to find that sweet balance between speed and torque. A servo that is as fast as it can be with the highest amount of torque that we can get. So it's the right balance for both. If the servo has too much torque and not enough speed, then you will notice it in flight because, yeah, it'll pull through any kind of maneuver, but the response will be sluggish. If the servo is too fast but there's not enough torque, then it'll feel really nice in stationary 3D maneuvers, but when you're traveling and transitioning through the air and you try to make a sudden stop, then you will notice that the helicopter is not really as crisp as it could be. So you have to find the right balance between torque and speed. So once you put all that big package together, torque, speed, you know, deadband, then you look into, you know, the right size, the form factor, the weight, the current usage. I mean, there's so many things to, you know, take into account. But overall, I think we found a good compromise, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback, especially on the full-size servos. So, and the price is excellent too. I think we try to minimize our margins just to try to put them out there on the market. And
I hear so many really good reports from pilots and friends who've tried them, and best of luck to you, mate. Best of luck. We've got a question from Ada. Aid's just going to take over for one moment because I need to fix something.
I believe Nick might be having some signage issues, but anyway, there's a question that's come through on Google Plus.
Don't tell them all.
Hey, not my fault. Your hanging abilities are rubbish. Anyway, on your 570, are you running 6S or 12S?
I have one of each. I have a 6S. Actually, they're right here. You could probably see them. Like, they're all the way right there to the left side of the screen. I have a 570, and I have a 570 12S and a 570 6S. And they're both fun for what they are. I always tell people, if you want the most performance you want to get out of the machine, definitely get the 12S. But if you're more into practicing, learning new moves, and you're really not into the smack type of flying, then just get a 6S. Just because the simplicity of a single pack. You know, literally the main difference is just the amount of power, how much it loads. As far as flight time, is actually pretty much close to the same. So.
I mean, you'll always get a little bit more efficiency and that sort of things out of the higher voltage. You know, given the choice, you'll always take more volts rather than more amps, I suppose. But,
exactly.
But, yeah, I mean, I can understand what you're saying about the simplicity of the pack. So, you know, watching, obviously, my little Gaui X5 has only got one pack, but watching people trying to load sort of two, you know, sort of 6S packs into 600 size, it just seems like a complete faff.
Yeah, it's just so much easier to just maintain a single pack. You know, it's just so convenient.
Yeah. Okay, and we've got another question from a listener. What about a new Smack Talk episode?
You have to ask Bobby.
We did, and he said ask you.
I know. Well, actually, honestly, the main reason why we haven't done much of anything is because Bobby's been really busy with this invertex project. He really has. I've talked to him on many occasions, and every time I try to call him or something, he's busy. He's been really putting a lot of work, time, and effort into that project. So, you know, we honestly don't know when we're going to do something. We don't really want Smack Talk to die completely, but I think for now we really can't do anything until at least he can get going with this project and get things a little bit more stable for him. So I can't say we're not going to do it again, but I really, on the other hand, couldn't say when. But certainly something will come soon, I hope.
Excellent. Little bit of an offside one here. There has been some talk about main gear issues on the 500 and the 570, with them exploding apparently. I haven't heard anything about this myself, but do you know anything about this, Bert?
I don't know of anything on the 570. I know of what I know is the Goblin 500 ships with a plastic, like very cheap, I guess you could say, plastic main gear. So if you're doing anything other than just very basic sport flying, I always encourage people to get the upgraded heavy duty main gear. As far as the 570, I really don't know. I mean, I can dig into it and make a post on my Facebook once I get more information about it, but I really haven't been told of anything. But then on the other hand, I don't handle some of those technical things as far as issues and stuff, and I do deal a lot with distributors, and I haven't heard anything yet, so I don't really know what to say with regards to that.
Cool. Okay. Nice feedback there. Thank you very much, Bert. Connor Sloan, can't wait for Zone, Stu. I think we like that. That's a good thing. And I think that's about it for now. There's somebody asking about a problem with having some issues with the tail on the Vortex. I think the best thing to do there, Emil, is to go to the Spartan forum and go and ask your question there. You'll get a lot more detailed answer and response there than you will ever get from in the time that we've got allotted tonight.
I just got a quick question I'd like to ask that some people have asked me, obviously because I know Bert, and they've asked me to ask you. With the BK servos, it's got that really cool sort of oversized motor, but it's the exposed motor. How do you kind of get on, bearing in mind it's magnetized? Does that not attract sort of dirt and grit and sort of bits of metal? Is that
I've received those. I've asked those. I've been asked those questions before. I have several friends that have Gaui NX4s. So they're flying the mini BK servos on a Nitro machine. And one of them, his name is Mike Gator. He has probably 300 flights. He flies his NX4 almost exclusively every Saturday and every Sunday, guaranteed. And he hasn't had any issues. So I don't think there's really an issue with that. Obviously, I recommend people to take care of their stuff and make sure their helicopters are kept clean, and of course, I'm sure that if you fly it on the beach and you let sand get in it, and you're flying a nitro machine and there's sand mixed with nitro oil and all this kind of stuff, you might run into a problem. But under normal wear and tear, normal use, I don't think there's a potential for an issue there.
There you go. We're just going to say happy birthday, actually. I do apologise to this guy because I said I'd do it earlier, but we've had some technicals and this, that, and the other going on, so it has slipped my mind. But Bert, do you remember that name that I asked you to read out? No? No worries. There's a guy who wants us to wish him a very happy birthday.
You never gave me the name. You mentioned that, but I don't think you gave me the name.
It's in the show documents, but don't worry. The gentleman's name is Lee Trevethan. Lee Trevethan, that's right. Yeah, Lee Trevethan. He's 42 years old, and he's a big fan of yours.
Yes, I found it. Sorry, my bad. Yeah,
he's a big fan. He's a big fan of yours, Bert, and he wants us to wish him a very happy birthday today. Happy birthday, mate. Wherever you are. Lee. There you go, Lee Trevethan. A quick question now. We've got an input from Stu Smith. Stu, I want to come over to you anyway and just sort of coming towards the tail end of the show now, Stu. But I believe you have a question from Mr. Pedro himself.
I think he wanted you to read it out.
Oh, he does. Okay.
It was aimed at you.
It was aimed at me.
Yeah.
I can't see no question. Maybe I haven't got my.
It's at the top. I'll ask it, Nick.
Yeah, go on then.
Can you ask A.D. Smith if he is allowed out on Saturday night for my stag party? Thanks, Pedro.
Is Stu allowed? Stu, are you allowed out on Saturday night?
I am.
What, this Saturday?
Hey?
Is AD allowed out as well? What do you mean?
Well, that's the question. Is AD allowed out?
Is AD allowed out? Well, I don't know. Is he? I don't know. Is he under the thumb that much? I've no idea. Is it? I didn't realise Pete's getting married.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Pete getting married, is he? Oh, you joke? No, don't do it, Pete. For goodness sake, mate. No, all women are the same, mate. They've just got different haircuts, and it's not a good idea. No, I'm only joking, mate. We wish you all the best if you're getting married the weekend. Good on you, mate. She's a lucky lucky girl. Okay, so no, best of luck. Where's my invite? Git. Okay, so we'll move on. So right, I want to get some more questions from our learned guests, Dave Fisher. We've spoken to you, Dave, a lot during the show, but let's just focus a little bit more about your flying career, Dave. And I want to talk a lot more about flyingfish.co.uk. What made you set up the flying school in the first place?
Well, it's a long story. We're short of time, but basically, at the time I was illustrating for design agencies, and the work was drying up because computers were taking over in a big way, and I was traditional. I've been flying all my life, and I've always been asked questions and wanted to give help to people at the field. And I thought, well, let's try it as a business, and that was 18 years ago, and it's worked for me ever since I started it.
Wow, and fantastic, mate! And you are with the longest sort of established flight school in the UK. What sort of pilots? What sort of pilots do you typically tend to teach?
We teach everybody from very small electrics, starting on the small type blade type helis, right the way through to competition pilots. So they generally follow the course and build up from basic hover to circuits to inverted, into the 3D flying, so a complete range.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's one-on-one, so we can either use their helicopters or we can use our helicopters if they don't have anything. We tend to like people to come along and not purchase anything to start with, so as they get a good feel for flying and not buy something which probably doesn't fly so well and they get a bad experience. So it's good to use our stuff first.
Fantastic. And what do you charge typically for your lessons?
$42.50 an hour, which initially you think, ooh, if you buy a cheap heli, that's a long way towards buying a heli. But the experience in the device and the start that you get is second to none. It's the easiest way to have a fuss-free start into the sport. You imagine what it's like starting now with, do I go Flybarless, do I electric, nitro, and so on. All those questions are asked, and we're there on the phone to help people as they progress. We're always there to help them.
I mean, I can vouch, just the fact that how experienced Dave is, and what a good guy he is. He really does kind of get involved. We've got a question, please, from Aid.
It's a recommendation actually from one of our listeners. Highly recommend Dave from Flying Fish for heli training. He's a very good teacher. I think you're doing a good job there, Dave.
There you go. There's an endorsement.
Thanks very much, Aid. I think at one time you were teaching, weren't you, Aid? And a lot of people I see start and get into it, but in the winter it gets a bit cold, and people tend to think, I'll go for a career change.
We're going to just quickly jump over to Stu Smith. I believe you got something to say. Just unmute your microphone again, Stu.
Yeah, I've actually got a really big announcement.
Ooh. You're getting married.
Adrian Smith is coming out of retirement.
Ooh. And
he's going to start flying again.
Get in there. What are you going to fly? Come on in, AD.
He's going to show you a bit of flying.
Come on, mate. Let's have it. Come on. Let's do it.
Oh, here we go.
Try that one again. Can't see anything.
Where is it?
There it is.
He's got the bubble copter.
Excellent. Get it in camera, Aid, so we can see.
His hovering skills haven't improved at all.
So presumably that coming out of retirement was what we've just seen.
Yeah, you can buy these from Hobby Hanger.
Ah, there you go. There's a nice plug. There you go. It's got its own little juice bottle on the bottom. There you go.
Great for the kids.
RRP, please. RRP.
Yeah, what's the RRP?
£30.
£30.
30 squids. There you go.
Cheaper than one of Dave's flying sessions.
You do that. You know, you're supposed to help him, mate. You're supposed to help him. Okay, so that's cool.
Thanks, Stu. I appreciate that one.
In combination with, right, guys, we literally could sit here for hours, no doubt, and our viewers at home, wherever you are in the world, you know, we've got to be careful on the time. So we're just going to quickly go back to Angelos, if you don't mind, the Spartan guy. Angelos, if you could just unmute your microphone for us, thank you very much indeed. Angelos, mate, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show, and thank you very much indeed for organising it. Have we had our winner yet? Has he emailed both Stu or Adrian? Have you got any notification? Let's bring Adrian in as well.
Nothing yet. It's still unclaimed.
Okay, so let's just read that out again. Stu, would you mind? Aid, could you do that for us again?
I shall stick it back on the screen for you, so
there you go.
See it
on the screen now. Read that out for us, Aid.
1F5A53A1.
So if that is your number, you must email us the remaining 4 numbers to claim your prize. Now, we haven't actually decided what happens next if nobody claims it. We just expected the email would be bouncing through ASAP after we read it out. So we'll just wait another 5 or so minutes, and then maybe Angelos can have a little think about how we can redraw if that's at all possible, because we want to get a winner. We want to get somebody on the, we want to get a name read out before the end of show 4 of the Rotors, the RC Helicopter Show. So before we do that, let's just let Angelos just carry on and just work out and crunch some numbers and see how he can do it. Let's just jump over to Kev Davis. Let's have a quick word with you, and then we'll go and speak to our good friend Bert in a moment. Kev, are you there?
I'm here, mate, yeah.
Fantastic. So you've now got a fleet of goblins. How many have you got?
4. I've got 4 now.
You've got 4 now.
Yeah, I'm not greedy or anything.
Why do you fly goblins?
Well, for me, it started out as a luck thing. You know, I'd had a bit of a break. I'd come back with Thunder Tiger, and I'd seen the goblins, and I was like, wow, they look amazing. But obviously, they're a little bit on the expensive side, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to save up for one of them. And then, about a year ago now, I got my first 630, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It just flew like nothing had flown before. And, you know, and now they're just breeding slowly, which is... No, it's just one of them. My 630's my go-to heli all the while. I'll go and find my other helis, and I'll just come back and I'll get my 630 out, and I just really enjoy it. But having said that, though, now some reason the 770's kind of taken over as the go-to heli. It's just there's something about it. It's the presence in the air. It's just the way it flies. It's just like. Yeah, that's like spot on. I just really like it, and I'm hoping the 570. Well, I'm going to be running that on 12S, so I hope that's going to be like pretty amazing as well.
Wow! So, I'm going to just jump over quickly to Stu. Stu, quick question for myself. Have you ever tried flying the goblins?
Goblins, yeah, I had a 700 for a bit.
Okay. Okay, what are your thoughts?
It flew actually really good. For a 700 size, it was actually really nimble. So, a lot of the 90 sizes, they're quite big, so they fly quite direct and quite set in their ways. But the Goblin's very manoeuvrable, very nimble.
Okay,
which I like.
Fair enough. Okay, and I hear you like the look of the. You like the look of the KGS Agile 7.2, is that right?
Yeah, it looks okay.
Would you be interested in flying one?
Well, I've got the real thing, and I've got a Logo 700.
Which I mean, the real thing. This is designed from the ground up. This is unlike anything else. We're going to have actually on the first update for AccuRC. We discussed it in the last show. AccuRC, the simulator. The first updated model into the simulator will in fact be the Agile, the same 7.2 Agile KDS Agile. So yeah, that's looking good. We're just going to jump over very quickly. Sorry, we're just having some conversations now because I'm just very conscious that we've got an overrun here of time. If we just jump back to Bert one moment, Bert. I know you're sort of typing away on your phone, or maybe Angelos as well. We're going to kind of try and wrap it up a little bit now, maybe because everybody's we're coming to the end of the show. So, excuse me. It's been a real pleasure having you on the show, Bert. Has it been an enjoyable experience for you? Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, definitely. It's always fun to come out here and talk with everybody and share some moments with you guys.
Fantastic. Well, we will see you obviously in a fistful of weeks, obviously at HeliFest Helimasters on the 15th of June. And we're also going to be talking about the next show, the next Rotor Show 5 will be on the 10th of June. So hopefully we'll get some feedback and some good listeners for that, because we do have the guys from Align, okay? Now, right, Adrian's just sent me a message, right? There's some confusion there on the dates. We'll come back to you on that, but we've got the guys from Align, the team pilots from Align RC coming on the show on our next show. We got some big names. Trust me, we've got some real big names coming on the show. So, Angelos, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to do this. Have we come to a decision on how we're going to announce this, or have we actually put the winner on our Google Plus page?
The image is on has been posted on Google Plus, Facebook, and Twitter on our personal pages. I'm sure the guys will reshare that around as well. So hopefully, over the next few days, we should hear from people. So it's adrianchapmanlaw@gmail.com if you are the winner.
Right. Okay. So good luck to you. Hopefully, you can get yourself. Get yourself connected to our Google Plus page. Please do that and make sure you claim your prize. Angelos, what has it been like for you to be on the show? Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Have you had a good time?
Yes, it's been very interesting, and I'm very pleased to have been here. It has been, good experience for me, and I'm very pleased to have talked to the customers and so they can understand what Spartan is and about me a bit more.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much indeed. We do really appreciate you coming on. Let's have a quick final chat with Stu. Stu Smith, are you there, mate?
Yep.
We've tried to talk to as many people as we possibly can during this call, but it's been quite difficult to get a massive amount of time with everybody. If anybody would like to come to the Zone format, can you tell us a little bit about the contact details and how people can do it?
Yeah, all the details on the website, zoneformat.com, or you can visit the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/zoneformat. That's probably more regularly updated, to be honest, so everything's on there.
Fantastic, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys down there. It's going to be a big show. Lots and lots of people coming on the show, coming up down to the show. So yeah, fantastic. Last word from Adrian Chapman Law.
Yes, it's been a great show. We haven't had time to cover everything, but I know there's some bits and pieces that I know Angelos wanted to talk about specifically towards the PC software, which I know is approaching any time soon. Angelos, when's that coming?
Yeah, microphone. The PC software, we have very good progress with it. Actually, I have it running on my computer right now. I don't know if it's easy to get it on.
I'll just post the pictures.
Okay, pictures, yeah. So this is how it looks, and it will look very familiar to people that are already using the data pod. So you have the same categories and the adjustments per flight mode. We almost finished it, sorting out a few little niggles, and I hope it will be within the next few weeks sometime that we will release a beta that people can start using while we tidy up some cosmetic things.
That's
Excellent,
awesome.
excellent. But yeah, no, it's been good. I'm looking forward to the next one. The Align boys will be quite entertaining, I am sure.
Now, there's been some confusion here for the 10th of June. Why the 10th of June? I've been telling everybody the 17th of June, Aid.
That's been on the wireframe for weeks.
No. We haven't. Oh, that's a discussion.
Okay.
Right. Okay. We've got to go. Me and Aid have got to have a discussion about this. Okay. Listen, everybody. Thank you so much indeed for watching. We have overrun, and a big thank you to Angelos Gonias from Spartan RC, Bert Kammerer from SAB Heli Division and Spartan USA. Thank you very much indeed, Dave Fisher of flyingfish.co.uk, Kev, my co-presenter, Aid, my co-presenter, and Stu Smith of hobbyhanger.co.uk and Zone Format. From myself, Nick Johnson, the commentator, thanks very much indeed for watching. And if that's your special number, make sure you claim your prize. Make sure you do that within the next couple of days. Otherwise, we're going to give it to somebody else. So,
yeah, I love
it. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed for watching. This is the Rotors, Show 4, the RC Helicopter Show. Thank you very much indeed for your time and your patience and your comments and support. Thank you very much indeed. A very good night to you. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night. See ya.